Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. And before I get into today's deck profile, I'd like to just quickly thank everybody who started watching the legends behind the cards. It's a 4-part mini series. I'm gonna do like 3 more. The first one was the Egyptian gods, of course. The picture of Geb that I chose, it was like a fan art, or it was from another website. It's not exactly the depictions that I was finding in my mythology books. But again, it sort of looks close. So that's a thing. And to a couple of people, I got a couple of the packages back, so give me another couple of days to get those resent out. I will message you guys to let you know that stuff's on the way. So thank you. Let's get you guys an updated deck profile. So way back towards the beginning of this channel, I profiled my Dragon Caller deck. Now, again, it's sort of like it can OTK. It's not a guaranteed OTK. It's one of those glass cannons that I'm always talking about. It either goes off or it doesn't. So let's give you guys a quick updated version of this deck, and then we'll go over why everything's in here afterwards. So I'm going to be using, of course, the Dragon Caller skill card. We are going to have 3 copies of the Blue Eyes White Dragon in our deck. We are going to be using 3 copies Lord of D, or Lord of Dragons. We updated out of the Twin-Headed Behemoths to Spear Dragons. Thank you, Battle City Box. And of course, Tyrant Dragon still in here at triplicates. Again, thank you to the Battle City. We're going to have Books of Moon, and I'm playing this over, I think it was Windstorms of Itaqua. And I knew I didn't have to actually play this. So I borrowed my friend's cards, hence the other sleeve. So I've got his 2 copies of Nightbeam instead of using Stamping Destruction. And again, this is going to give us a slight edge. And I can't remember what set this was out of. But he has them and I don't. And I'm a bad friend. I haven't given him back his cards quite yet. Still got to make it over to his state. And then, of course, the 3 Flues of Summoning Dragon. Additionally, last time I didn't have an extra deck or a sideboard, so again, I'm going to be using my generic single Arcana Knight, double Blue Eyes Ultimate, single Senshi, double Restrict. And then the sideboard is mostly for like stall decks and when you have to switch up. So we got 2 Noblemen of Crossout, 2 Waking the Dragon, and 2 copies Zoma the Spirit. So if you guys were just here for the deck list, again, I want to thank you guys for watching. And again, if this has helped you, and if you aren't already, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button and let your friends know about the channel so we could all enjoy this together. And you guys have a wonderful day. Class is dismissed. We'll see you guys on the next video. Everybody else, let's go ahead and talk over. It's been 6 months since this one was on the channel, so let's just breeze over everything again real quick. So Dragon Caller was the ultimate unfair skill at the beginning of this game. And what it allowed you was once per duel, use one of the following skills. If you successfully summoned, normal summoned, the Lord of D, then you were able to add Flute of Summoning Dragon from deck or graveyard to hand. And if you reveal the Flute of Summoning Dragon from your hand, then you can add Lord of D from deck or graveyard to hand. So again, this allowed us to autocorrect our hand, and this is the reason why we want to run so many big dragons. Just set you right there, Kaiba. Again, Blue Eyes White. We just need big, beefy 3K dragons to try to go for game. We need 3 copies Lord of Dragon. Neither player can target dragon monsters on the field with card effects. He's easy to shut off with Book of Moon. Again, it is what it is. But he's part of our combo for the Lord of D Flute of Summoning. And this could allow us to fill up our side of the field on our first move. The Spear Dragons, again, I'm playing this over the Twin-Headed Behemoths. Twin-Headed Behemoth was like a once per duel effect, regardless of the amount of cards that you had of it. And this is a nice, cheeky little power bonus. It's going to go up from 1,500 to 1,900 now. And when this one attacks a defense, you can go ahead and inflict piercing. When this has attacked, it gets to fall to defense mode after the end of the damage step. So again, in the middle of the battle phase, it'll go ahead and sit, which again kind of makes it a spear and a shield. It's just going to absorb 1 attack. And then, of course, there's Tyrant Dragon, one of my favorite cards for this. During the battle phase, if your opponent controls a monster, after this card's first attack, this may make a second attack. So, again, this is really what's going to help us bust boards wide open. And it really doesn't matter what they have. For the most part. Again, when I was playing this the first time, we were using Windstorm of Ataqua. Beforehand, I didn't get to update it. I switched those out for Adhesion Trap Holes to make the battle more friendly to this deck. And then with Book of Moon, I just went straight to that because it shuts down so many more decks. And again, it just does have an extra effect. Negate any trap card that effect that targets this card on the field. And if you do destroy the trap, this card cannot be special summoned from the graveyard unless you tribute a dragon monster. We're not going to play this from the graveyard. So very fair, very cool. Very powerful, but again, I use this to just break boards and clear field. Book of Moon, again, just highly essential card in the game. Always needing this card, always playing this card. Shuts down a lot of loops, a lot of combos. I'm going to go ahead and use it defensively. It's good against Jinzo. Again, if you are running traps, this is a good way to get yourself back into it, which is fine. The original build, I was using Stamping Destruction. So instead of Night Beam, I had to have a dragon to play it, which meant I had to be mid-loop to do. And then if I was able to destroy the card, my opponent would take 500. Night Beam, way more successful at its own job. This allows us to target 1 set spell trap the opponent controls, destroy that target, and the opponent is unable to activate the targeted card in response to this card's activation. So again, whereas with Stamping Destruction, if there was something like Windstorm of Ataqua, they would be allowed to activate that. At which point you wouldn't get to destroy the card. It would resolve and be off the field beforehand. You didn't stop the effect. Night Beam stops the effect. Night Beam stops the Zoma from summoning. Night Beam stops a whole lot of things that'll make your day pretty upset. Night Beam does not stop Waking the Dragons if you end up playing against Waking the Dragons. One big downside. Now, personally, I'm going to have to switch these out for my Cosmic Cyclones because I got to play what I own. But for today's video and the fact that I still have a couple of Joe's cards laying around here, I borrowed his Night Beam so we could just go with the better version of the deck. And then, of course, the last spell, the Flute of Summoning Dragon. Special summon up to 2 dragon monsters from your hand. Lord of D must be on the field to activate and resolve this effect. Again, if you're playing against this deck, that is the moment to go ahead and play your Book of Moon, because it's not so much that I normal summoned it and then I'm going to use my Dragon Caller to get this. You really want to make sure that I've tried to fire off the spell first. Then you want to chain with the Book of Moon. Lord of D will be face down. Lord of D is no longer face up. Lord of D is not on the field for that consideration, and therefore the Flute of Summoning will fizzle, and you'll have dealt with both cards seamlessly. So just a little how to beat me if you guys see me playing this. Again, the extra deck is very generic. Arcana Knight Joker sort of has this protection ability anytime something is going to target him. As a quick effect, if you can discard a card of the same type, spell, trap, or monster, you can negate the effect to destroy it. So he's very self-protective, 3,800 good stat. Blue Eyes Ultimate, strongest in game. Rhea Senshi can protect itself from spells at no cost, and can negate normal trap cards for a cost of 1,000 life points. And Restrict is the most technical fusion in the game right now, so very cool. Again, the side deck, Nobleman of Crossout, target a face-down monster on the field. Destroy the target, then banish it. Then if it was a flip effect monster, all players reveal their main deck, banishing all copies of the same monster from the game. And again, it doesn't happen super often, but I also don't want a flip effect to happen to me. So like, I don't want to fall into like a Night Assailant or anything like that. So I'd much rather just hit the cross out during game to take care of that. If Apprentice Magician's over there, like, yeah, I'm playing Tyrant Dragon, but I don't want to have to rely on him to actually clear the board. So I can go ahead and just deal with that threat this way and just total null void on their end. Waking the Dragon, again, if they were going pretty aggressive, if they get a bigger back row. Again, this is just my own personal tech. Guys, feel free to play whatever you like here. This should be considered an open spot. So again, if you wanted to add, and I think one of my preliminary choices here was actually Kaiser Glider. which I retired out of the side deck. And again, my thought process was I've got just so many large dragons, 29 and 3,000, that it doesn't matter if I'm facing pseudo monarchs or anything like that. It would just be more advantageous for me to not put in Kaiser Glider and be able to tech something like this. And of course, maybe you'd want to tech something else. Maybe you have a third Night Beam, and there's a game where you need to be a little more aggressive. Maybe you don't. Maybe you got Cosmic Cyclones that could go in here. You could always put in another Nobleman of Cross out if that's what you're feeling. If you want to switch skills in between games of the match, you can always put another skill in here. I haven't done that yet. I might create a deck here soon that will side out for a new skill to play as a second deck. It's very cool. I might do that. And then last but not least, Zone of the Spirit. Special summon him in defense as an effect monster. And of course, if he is special summoned by his own effect and destroyed by battle, inflict damage to the opponent equal to the attack of the monster that killed it. Again, inner conflict, always going to be a big deal. So again, I need to go after inner conflict the only way I know how, and the best way I know how, and that is Zone of the Spirit. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed this. It is kind of a throwback to the beginning of speed duels. And you know what? I got the app. Let's do it. Okay, well, there's a pretty interesting test draw right off the rip. So that's, if it gets to focus... Will you focus? No, it's not going to focus. All right, so I got Lord of D, I got Night Beam, Spear Dragon, and Blue Eyes White, which means with our skill, I can normal summon Lord of D. Since I don't have to wait for Stamping Destruction, if there's a back row, I can go ahead and handle that. And at which point I will be spawning these two dragons. If we go second, we do end up with Flute of Summoning. I would still recommend using the skill card in this instance. I would see first if Lord of Dragons can summon normally, and if not, you might recommend showing off the flute to get a second shot at Lord of D. Another draw allows us to get Tyrant Dragon to the field with a Book of Moon as backup, and if going second, also gives us Spear Dragon. And this is sort of an OTK, but only so far in as... their one monster is weak enough for Spear Dragon to take care of, or they ended up with like maybe two monsters and Tyrant Dragon can overwhelm with enough damage. Here we go again, double Spear Dragon with a Book of Moon. Could end up with three. Next hand, show the flute, grab the Lord of D, got a couple Books of Moon, got Tyrant Dragon, very technical play. If we went second, we'll also get the Night Beam to start with. This one's kind of a push at first. We're going to get the Spear Dragon, so we're playable. We got Spear Dragon and Night Beam. Pretty haphazard. If we went second, we get a Tyrant Dragon. If we last another turn, then we get our Lord of D. One more to round it out. Lord of D, Flute of Summoning, Book of Moon, Tyrant Dragon, very consistent. Almost every game we can open up being able to use the Dragon Caller skill to get the flute off. And if we go second, we get two Tyrant Dragons. The major point here is, like, if you do the math just real quick, if the opponent only had one monster and you get, any combination of two of the big dragons plus Lord of D, even on the weaker end, and let's say that it's the Tyrant Dragon and the Lord of D that are going to go through, that's still 4,100 damage direct, or again, that could be 4,200. It's just a matter of being able to deal enough damage real quick. Again, super glass cannon. So again, okay, there we go. We got some test draws. We get the deck. We get the reasonings. You guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys haven't seen the Legends Behind the Cards, I would suggest watching it. I got a little bit wrong. I got some of the phonetics wrong. I did have one wonderful viewer. And just real quick, I'm going to dive into my comment section and pull the name. That was Yu-Gi-Oh! Heathen. And we'll pull up an example of that. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Heathen actually went ahead and joined the conversation down in the comments. And this is just one of the many. I believe they gave me like 3 or 4 good broken up phonetic pronunciations. And actually helped out a little bit with the lore, which is a huge thank you. Anytime I can learn a little more, I'm grateful. But seriously, guys, I'm just going to keep circling the drain. So you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.